teaching ethically responsive leadership. I'm Janine Comas, and this is my colleague, David Conrad. We teach full-time for the EDAD Administration Principal Preparation Program. During this presentation, I will be supplementing slide information, so please feel free to stop or pause at any time to read the full slide. Administrators need to be responsive leaders whose decisions as well as interactions need to be ethically sound. The purpose of this presentation is to share a brief background about responsive leaders and ethical decisions, as well as explain how our Principal Prep program teaches our candidates about ethically responsive leadership. School administrators make multiple decisions daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. They interact with teachers, support staff, students, parents, and other administrators at the local, state, and even national level. We know that good decision-making is subject to the knowledge one has, the information one collects, and the resources he or she taps into. Making decisions is also influenced by a person's values and preferences. Thus, in order to be a responsive, ethical, sound decision maker, one needs to take into consideration all the stakeholders and the institution for which he or she is representing. Ethical responsive leadership does not need to be thought of as a new initiative. John Dewey in the 1900s informed us that schools have a moral responsibility to serve the welfare of society. Becoming a responsive leader who makes ethically sound decisions is not a walk in the park. It is challenging. For the vast research under the category of soft skills, we learned that a person's personality traits, habits, communication formats, analytical skills, and problem-solving strategies greatly impact how good of a leader he or she will become. The professional standards for educational leaders dedicate Standard 2 to the topic of ethics and professional norms. Please feel free to pause and read the 6 subcategories that describe how educational leaders are required to conduct themselves, maintain integrity, place children's academic and social success in the forefront, promote values of social justice, lead with social emotional insight, and provide moral direction for the faculty, staff, and school. In addition to professional standards, most states also have state code standards as well as education administration associations that address ethical responsibilities. So how do we teach our administrative candidates to be ethically responsive leaders? One thing we do is we dive into this content during the first course of the program sequence titled Organizational Leadership. The textbook focused on in this class is shown here and consists of a background on the topics of turbulent theory as well as ethical dilemma analysis, coined by the authors Joan Shapiro and Stephen Gross. Turbulent theory evolved from Stephen Gross's experience on a very awful airplane flight. During the flight, the aircraft experienced significant turbulence of panic, procedure implementation, and leadership directives that needed to occur due to the level of turbulence. For months after this experience, Steve Gross developed a comparative chart showing how responding to turbulence on a flight could parallel to how one responds to turbulence in an education system. Regarding the ethics, the authors clearly described 4 different categories. The ethic of justice, which involves laws and rights, the ethic of critique, pertaining to information and redefining, the ethics of care, referring to the connections and socializations, and finally, the ethic of professor, which is profession, which is applying the professional standards of your profession. In the organizational leadership course, first students read about turbulent theory and categories of ethics. Then they go on to discuss hypothetical dilemmas presented from mass media articles, as well as case studies provided within the focus text. Discussions occur in large and small groups, leading to the final requirement of written responsive work. So what do we see happening? It is our observation, as well as our graded performance outcomes, that appear to reflect significant development in our candidates' skills such as listening, speaking, reflecting, inquiring, reframing, collaborating, challenging, mediating, networking. In summary, multiple critical thinking skills appear to improve. Although the course instructors and professors are seeing the candidate's ability to ethically improve responsive decision-making, the question still remained, do our candidates think their ability to be ethical, responsive leaders is advancing? To begin to learn the answer, we needed to collect some data. This past fall 19 academic semester, we collected responses to 4 LIKERT scale-rated questions and 3 open-ended questions via our course evaluation of instructor forms that are filled out by the candidates at the end of each class. Only 2 classes completed these survey questions. One class had just finished the organizational leadership course, which again was the first class in the program sequence. The second class that was surveyed had just finished their 3rd course in the program sequence, thus helping us learn if they had retained a feeling of having learned about becoming an ethically responsive leader. Only 2 classes of the different students had completed the SEI questions, thus our numbers are currently very low, and we look forward to collecting more responses. To better understand our survey questions, please feel free to pause and read the next 2 slides. We were very excited to learn that the vast majority of responses to the 4 rated questions agreed or strongly agreed that the textbook critique writing, group discussion, and overall course content benefited their ability to implement responsive effective leadership. In addition, the first 2 open-ended questions provided positive responses regarding the instruction of ethical responsive leadership and how it benefited or influenced their current work as an education leader. Finally, the 3rd open-ended question validated the positive aspects of instruction by providing only very limited advice for improvement. In summary, it appears that teaching ethically responsive leadership is both occurring and valued, with some broad conclusions being more data is definitely needed. Administrators who better grasp the many aspects of ethical responsiveness may make better decisions. Principal preparation programs may benefit their candidates' development by providing a course dedicated to ethically responsive leadership. And finally, further research may help professors improve in their ability to teach ethically responsive leadership skills. Thank you for selecting this presentation, and I wish you luck with your journey towards educating future administrators to be ethically responsive leaders.